In this video, we're going to be actually throwing our little grenade here. So we're going to set that up by creating a input for throwing and, well, making our throw function actually usable. So we want to go to Project Settings, find Input, create a new one, and I'm going to call this one Throw. I want to set it to the G key. And save. Alrighty. Now in our survival character, let's actually include our grenade. Our grenade base. And set up our throwing input. So change your load weapon to throw if you're copying, and we're going to replace the reload function with our own. So I want to make it right underneath reload, so I'm going to do void throw and create its definition. And then make it call the throw function. Alright, so here we are. Now what we can do is, what we want to do anyways, is loop through our inventory and see if we have a grenade. If we do, then we throw it. That's pretty much as simple as it's going to be. We do want to make a server version of this, so I'm going to copy this U function in here and change server reload to server throw. And then create definitions for our validate and our implementation. All right, back over here. All right, not sure why they put them so far down. All right, we're gonna change our validate to return true, just so it's a little less annoying. I'm pretty sure you do. That's spelled wrong. And somehow it's still actually compiled, which is weird. Anyways, so we're going to check and see if we have a grenade on the client. Then we're going to make a call to the server and do the exact same test. So we're going to loop through our inventory. So I'm going to do first off if inventory, making sure it's valid. We're going to do a for loop. So type's going to be a pickup, as you recall. Item, and the item's going to be in inventory get inventory items, like so. Now we're going to do a check just to be safe. If item, making sure it's valid. Now we're going to do a cast. So if a grenade base, grenade equals cast a grenade base from item. If that is true, then we want to call the server to do the same thing. So we're going to do server underscore throw, and we're going to return because we're going to throw the first grenade in our inventory. We're going to perform the exact same check on the server. Whoops, wait, no, that's right. Except instead of calling server throw, we're going to call grenade throw. You see it takes in a character, which is this. After doing some thinking, I want to change the parameters that it takes in. So I'm going to change the player reference to a F vector throw location and an F rotator control rotation. So the throw location is going to be pretty much our head, but directly out in front of us. And our control rotation is going to be our, well, our camera's rotation, if that makes sense. So we're going to do this, get mesh, get bone location, f name, head, and then we want to get the control rotation. So this, get control rotation. We're probably going to end up changing this to, well, these parameters to be get uh, stored on the client, but we're just going to see for now. So that way we can have it be thrown very accurately from the client, like where the client wants it to be thrown from, if that makes sense. All right, so we have calling throw. All right, we have that set up. Now we need to actually set up our projectile movement component. So under explosion sphere, we're going to do a U property. Edit anywhere. It's going to be a class U projectile movement component. I'm going to call it projectile movement. Our default subobject, U projectile movement component, projectile movement component. We also need to include it. It's in game framework, projectile movement component, like so. And here's where we can kind of define some stuff, but I'll show you that here in a minute because we can see them inside the editor on our blueprint version of the class. Yeah, let's actually go ahead and do that now. Alrighty, in our grenade base, we click on projectile movement, projectile, bounciness, and velocity. So for example, if I hit simulate, it's just going to drop. That's due to our gravity scale. For example, we set it to 0, it's going to stay in place. But you can see it kind of moves just ever so slightly, and then when I press end the simulation, it snaps back. That's due to velocity. Now velocity is what we're going to be, velocity is why we passed in our throw location and control rotation. So it's what, so pretty much if I increase this to 5, let's move a little faster, 50, you can see it move to the right on the x-axis. That's what's going to control our, what's it called? Our throwing, essentially. So we're going to be getting our, we're going to figure out the starting location for this actor, and we're going to pretty much throw it at our camera's rotation. So whatever direction we're looking, we're going to throw it. And you can see with the gravity, it's still going to throw it, but it's just going to kind of simulate artificially simulate, well, I don't say artificially, but it's not using the normal physics. It's kind of doing its own little set of physics for this. So I'm going to return this back to 0. I'm going to start the gravity scale at 0 because I don't want anything like that. So I want to go ahead and make sure to set those in the constructor. So just so I can have those be by default. So projectile movement, gravity, project gravity scale. We're going to set that equal to 0. So velocity equals f vector 0 vector. So it's just going to be zeroed out. Oh, we're just going to call the f vector constructor. That should be zeroed. And bouncing. Should bounce, I want that to be on for true. Set that to true. And one thing that I was tinkering with is the friction. So friction, I want to set that to equal 0.1 instead of 0.2. And everything else we're going to leave the same for now. The only thing I want to possibly change in the future would be the, I'll just drag it out. The bounce velocity stop simulating threshold. So that'll make it so our grenade kind of just continues to roll. All right, that's all set to be the same. So we should be good. Okay, now we need to actually throw it. So for now, I'm just going to throw it on the server, so that way we can actually see, well, see it being thrown. So I'm trying to think of how I wanted to go about doing this. Do projectile movement, velocity. So that's going to be from our control rotation. We need to convert that to a vector, and we're just going to multiply that by 900 and build. Now, whichever direction we're looking, it should kind of move the projectile in that direction from where it currently is. So E, look this way. All right, I haven't set up our throw. Wait, did I? I want to print a log. And build. And make sure, yeah, for now I'm testing on the server, so I'm playing as the dedicated server. Or not the dedicated server, as the listen server. Oh, right, because we have a pickup, if you recall. When we pick it up, it hides and disables the collision of the actor. We're going to do the opposite. So we want to actually do that the very first thing. Set hidden game, false. Set actor enable collision, true, because we want it to have collision. No, that's because we need to include static mesh. So include the static mesh component, and that'll be fine. Yep. All right, so now we should hopefully be able to see it move. G, yep, as you can see, and because it has no gravity, it's just kind of, doing its own thing. And if I look up, it goes up, it's following our control rotation. So once we actually throw it, I want to what's it called? I want to set its gravity scale back to 1, so that way it does have gravity affecting it. Again, this is after it's been kind of thrown and taken off. I'll go ahead and build. There's a couple other things I need to do. One thing we need to do as well, we're just going to simply set object picked up to equal false. We're doing this on the server. So we can probably actually do object picked up equals false, and that was the on rep. Whoa, picked up. I think that was called, that sets it. Yep. All right, so we're calling this on the server, and since this is replicated, it is going to be trickled down to clients, so clients should hopefully be able to see it after it has been picked up. I mean, after it has been quote unquote thrown. Let's just make sure that works on the server, which it does, and you can see it has gravity. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen with clients right now, because I haven't really been paying attention to testing that right now since I've been just trying to get it running and working. Make sure you can see it. Pick it up. Good to go. Throw it. Yep, that's all good and dandy. And because we haven't removed it from the inventory, if I press G again, oh, well, it's throwing it from its initial location, so that doesn't matter. All right, so uh, now we need to set its location. So the throw location, as you recall, comes from our head bone. Now we don't want it to spawn, well, we don't want it to throw from our head bone. We want to kind of throw out in front of ourselves a little bit. So what we can do, I want to show you first off what happens when we do it from the head bone. So this set actor location, throw location, and build. It'll spawn it inside of our head, essentially. So press G. As you can see, it was in our head, and then it did, its thing. So what we can do here is we've got to modify throw location. So throw location equals throw location plus control. Actually, let's see here. Yeah, control rotation dot vector. Then we want to multiply that by, let's do 50 because that's 50 centimeters. And it helps if you have a semicolon when you go to compile. So let's build. This should hopefully put it in the direction that we're looking at times 50 meters. So kind of somewhat in front of us. So press G. Yep. And you can see I can keep spamming G because we're not removing it from our inventory. So somewhere to see. Where is our guy? There he is. Whoops. So you can see roughly, it's still in our face, so we're probably going to go a little farther out, at least for the testing purposes. So like, we'll do 85. Okay, now that's good. Now there's one more thing I want to do. I want to kind of do our own little normalizing of our control rotation for the reason of, you'll see in a second. If I look straight down, I'm throwing it straight down. If I look straight up, I'm throwing it straight up, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but I want to kind of make it so the character's somewhat forced to throw a little bit forwards. So we can figure out the range that we need to go by doing this. So we're going to focus on the pitch. So we're going to print out the pitch of control rotation. So control rotation dot pitch and compile. Now each time we press G to throw, we're going to see this value print out, and that's going to give us allow us to pretty much figure out the range that we want to throw the grenade in. So G 350, look up, goes all the way up to 89.9 at its very peak, and 270 at its lowest. That's crap. Damn it. Well, that was neat. Yeah. All right, so let's see here. So I want it to be about just at least somewhat forwards. So I'm going to do 65 as the max that I want it to go in vertically. So let's go to our code here. We're going to do control, let's see here. So if control rotation dot pitch is greater than or equal to 65 and control rotation dot pitch is less than 90. So this will tell us that we are looking between two ranges, between the very top range and our 65 range. So if that is the case, we want to set control rotation dot pitch to equal 65. And I'm getting a phone call. Alrighty, back to what we were doing. Okay, so we're pretty much setting ourselves up so if we're greater than 65 on our pitch and we're less than 90, that dictates the range that we are in. So let's confirm that that works for throwing upward. So if I look straight up, it should still go out a little ways. All right, let's throw it straight up. And as you can see, it goes out. So we are good to go there. And the pitch is shown as 65. Now we gotta do the same for looking down. Sorry, I can't remember exactly what it was. So probably do 310. Yeah, we'll do 310. So as you can see, it goes from 300 to, so 300, so all right, pretty much 360 down to 270. So what we can check is do an else if, I'm actually going to literally just copy this to save time. So if the pitch is less than or equal to 310 and the pitch is greater than, and we could leave that at 90 actually, but we're just going to do 270.0. So if that's the case, it should be between that range, and we're going to do control rotation dot pitch. We're going to set that to be equal to 310 and compile. Now this should hopefully make it so we can't throw straight down and stick it under us. Straight down. All right, something's not right there. All right, where's my mouse? That's neat. All right, so we do have something going on here that's incorrect. So I'm gonna kind of just throw it. So something's not quite right there. So I'm gonna do 320 as our degrees and see if that changes at all. So it's working vertically, but it's not working. I mean, when we look straight up. Everything's still going normal. Let's find that 320 mark. So it's going out like that. So it's still like it's shooting down, but it's setting it. Thus we just need to stick the range for now farther away. We can actually go ahead and shrink the mesh just a little bit, because again, this is a large ball and we're not going to use that size for a grenade at all. Let's see, transform the scale. We're going to do 0. I don't know, 4. That's better. I want to see what it looks like with 2 clients real quick though, to make sure that it's not actually changing. All right. Yeah, that is kind of strange. Like it stays the same until you look down past a certain point, in which case it goes straight down. That could probably be ignored. So what I'm going to do now is I want to change this up. So we're going to pass in our character's location and rotation instead of going based off of the server's version. And then we're just going to simply compare it with the throw location of the server. So we can go ahead and set that up. So in our server throw, we're going to take an F vector, client, head, location, and we're going to take an F rotator, control, rotation, just like so. Make these the parameters. All right. So we're going to make it client, head, location, and control, rotation, like so. Now we can do our little comparison. So we're going to get the distance. So if, let's see here, F vector, server, head, location equals that. So if server head location dot distance, the distance to, no wait, those are 2 different. So we're going to do F vector distance, so server head location and client head location. If that is greater than or less than, let's do 50 centimeters. I want to store that in a variable, and I want to print it out out of curiosity so we can get roughly the idea of the, what's it called? An idea of the difference between the two. So I'm going to build. And hopefully it's not too drastic, since the bone should be pretty much the same between the server and the client within just a slight tolerance. Distance 1. That's for a reference. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm just misreading it. Anyways, we'll just go ahead and leave that for our check. Probably gonna have to come back to this because it was just returning 1, but you get the idea. So I'm gonna comment it, fix later, and leave it. All right. So we'll pass in our client's throw rotation, and we'll make sure that everything throws correctly. Right, the only thing we need to also modify would be the throw speed. So I want to make a U property, float throw speed. What am I throwing it right now? 900. So we're going to do throw speed equals 1500. And make it throw at throw speed. Okay. Now the only thing we really need to do now would be remove this grenade from our inventory. Let's see, so we use our use item. How do we do it? We're simply destroying it, but we're not resizing the mesh. I mean, not the mesh, the item in the inventory. So I can't quite remember exactly how everything was really done. So I'm going to look real quick on our inventory widget. Use drop transferred items. All right, so all right, here we are. So we're going to look at our pickups functions. We're going to check if, not our pickup, our inventory. So we can actually simply call drop item instead. So we can do is inventory drop item, and the item to drop being grenade. All right, let's see what the implementation of this is. All right, so we're going to make a separate function, just a simple remove. So we're going to do void remove item class a pickups item. Do if role, so we need to get owner role equals role authority. Then we're going to take item and we're going to remove it from our inventory array. So you can see how we've done it. Item, how we've done it here. So we have our remove item from inventory, and that's literally all we do. So remove item from inventory. I forgot we already actually created that. and the item being item. Right, simple as that. Let's build, and hopefully we should no longer be able to, wait, did I save it? No, I did not. Remove item, grenade, and build. So this should hopefully allow us to no longer be able to kind of spam throw the item several times in a row. So I'm probably going to end up calling this on the client as well, just to perform the same thing. So close that. Let's check, because the client might be able to spam it quick enough before the array replicates. All right, so I was only able to throw it once. I'm going to try to spam throw it. I'm still going to remove it on the client just to be safe. So, all right, so I wasn't able to in time, but just to be on the safe side, we're going to perform the same thing again. So we're going to call the server throw, but because we're on the client and the server's got its own copy of the inventory that is replicated, this will not matter since we're performing this on the client. So what I'm going to do is, instead of the role authority check, I'm just going to flat out remove it and remove the item. So remove item from inventory, does an authority check as well. I want to remove that. All right, and build. All right, let's just triple check that that works fine along with other items. Pick it up, throw it. I was not able to spam it. Pick up our health, use it. That worked. Make sure we can drop our water. Drop. And there it is on the ground. Alrighty. One last thing would be the transfer. And transfer back. Drop. I gotta click it again. Drop. And I closed it out of stupidity. Alright. That pretty much covers our throwing of the grenade. I'm gonna go ahead and move. Why is the sphere component all the way over here? Whoops. I guess that's just one of those weird things. In order to fix it, I want to make that a U property real quick. Fix it, and then we'll get right back to this. Right, and compile, because I know this video is going on for quite a little whiles. Okay. Grab the sphere component, find its rotation, and we're going to leave it. So right there in the center. So that's going to be roughly its blast radius that is going to affect. And we will, I'm going to go ahead and save. And we will come back to this in the next video and actually make it so when the explosion goes off via this on-ramp event here, that it will, one, give the clients that are inside of it damage, and two, it will spawn the effects. So I'm going to go ahead and comment out this little line here, and I will see you then.